YouTube fam, I recorded a video showing you some really cool books that I got at our local library sale. However, as I was recording the last book, my camera died, and it's been a while since I recorded that, so I'm going to go ahead and put the footage together, but you're going to see the last book gets cut off. And oops, what can I say? It's Christmas. We're all super busy. However, I hope that you're having an amazing December, and here's the video I recorded earlier. Have a good one. Hey everybody, it's Brandy from Brandy's Book World, and I am back with another video. I was really fortunate to go to the library this weekend and find some amazing books in the Friends of the Library sale. They have this like closet almost when you walk into my library, and they have all these books that have been donated, and picture books are like 50 cents, hardbacks are $2, and kid books are $1. So I scored some really cool books and I want to show them to you. The first book I got is The Glass Castle. This has made it onto a lot of high school English lists for students to read. It says it won the Christopher Award, the Better Life Award, a New York Times notable book, and 3 years on the bestseller list. This is a memoir. Young girl, she lives in a kind of dysfunctional family. Her dad has a drinking problem, and her mom doesn't want that domestic life and doesn't want to raise children, but then it does follow them into their adult life, and where the kids end up moving to New York, and the parents do as well, but then they live, so they actually choose to be homeless rather than live with their kids, their grown kids. So I'm really excited to read this, only because I'm a member of the National Council of Teachers of English, and being in elementary, sometimes there's like a disconnect from what the older students are reading. So I'm really excited. I enjoyed Educated. I enjoyed Where the Crawdads Sing, and so I think I'm going to enjoy this one too. I also found a really great copy of My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Backman. He did A Man Called Ove, and so I know his books are super popular. This is about Elsa. Elsa's 7 years old. Her grandma is 77 years old and crazy, but they're best friends. And the grandma tells Elsa stories, like made up stories, but then the grandmother dies and leaves behind a series of letters apologizing to people she is wrong. So Elsa's, adventure starts, and her grandma leads her around doing all of these things. I think this will be a really neat book. I love great adventures, especially one tied to grandparents. On the back, the Kirkus review said that it is really remnant of Roald Dahl and Neil Gaiman, so I'm excited. It looks like a feel-good, maybe something great for a Christmas when I'm off. Dare I have some room in my TBR at the end of the year? Okay, I also got a really great copy. I always search the section for classics, and this was in there. This is Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. I always love looking in the classics section at the library little store as well. This is about Esther Greenwood, and it says she's brilliant, beautiful, enormously talented, and successful, but then she starts going mad and kind of loses it. So it kind of goes into dark and kind of that psyche way. So yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it, but I definitely am always happy to have a copy of a classic. They had two really nice copies of Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects and Dark Places. I couldn't remember which book I had and which one I didn't, and I knew that Halloween was coming. I did not have any time to read them for Halloween, but I really did like Gone Girl. I'm not super picky in my thrillers or in mysteries as well. I was quite entertained, and so I'm excited to have both of these. Whatever one I don't have, I'll probably just put on Depop or Facebook Marketplace, but I'm excited. So This says, fresh from a brief stay at a psych hospital, reporter Camille Preaker faces a troubling assignment. She must return to her tiny hometown to cover the murders of 2 preteen girls. And then Dark Places says Libby Day was 7 when her mother and 2 sisters were murdered in the Satan sacrifice of Kinnicky, Kansas. She survived and famously testified that her 15-year-old brother Ben was the killer. So this takes place 25 years later. So anyway, always good to have Gillian Flynn's books on my shelf, so I made sure that I picked them up. I found a new copy of Full Cicada Moon. This is a great read for like Project Lit and diversity book clubs. This is about a student who's half black and half Japanese in the late 1960s in Vermont. And so it just talks a lot about race, about being different, and if you can tell, it's in verse, so a little easier and quicker to get through some of these novels, whereas to me they always have such artistry to them, to the actual writing. So I already have a copy or 2 of this, but I have a really good friend I'd like to send this to as well, so I made sure to pick up an extra copy. I haven't read it yet, but it is on my like TBR top of the shelf. I picked up another copy of Sandra Cisneros' The House on Mango Street. Again, I just want to give it away or find someone who loves it. I don't want it to sit in the library shop forever. Sandra Cisneros is an amazing Latinx author. Her work is quoted by all of my favorite authors in every literacy event I go to. This is different stories that all kind of add up. Some are even in prose, most are in paragraph form. It says, told in a series of vignettes, stunning for their eloquence. Sandra Cisneros' greatly admired novel of a young girl growing up in the Latino section of Chicago. So great representation here. Again, I already have this book, but when you see it for 50 cents, you grab it so that you can give it to someone you know. This is the Tattooist of Auschwitz. It is getting wonderful reviews. It's on Instagram and YouTube everywhere. This is the story. In 1942, a Slovakian Jew is forcibly transported to the concentration camps at Auschwitz. When his captors discover that he speaks several languages, he's put to work as a Tätowierer, the German word for tattooist, tasked with permanently marking his fellow prisoners. I have not gotten to this, but definitely something I have on my TBR as well. A moving book that, like I said, I'm seeing everywhere, so would really like to read this as well. I picked up this hardback copy of The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. She is who wrote Room, which I first heard about as a movie, but then the book, and when you hear about it, kind of sucks because the ending is what's supposed to get you and be unbelievable, so if you kind of know the premise. But this one is about Lib Wright, a young English nurse trained by the legendary Florence Nightingale, arrives in an impoverished Irish village with a strange mission. 11-year-old Anna O'Donnell is said to have eaten nothing for 4 months. With tourists thronging to see the child and the press sowing doubt, the baffled community looks to an outsider to bring the truth to light. I thought it had a really neat blurb, and again, I know that Emma Donoghue did great writing in The Room, so I'm hoping to get to this as well. And then I grew up loving Florence Nightingale, especially as a teacher, teaching her as well, so yeah, I'm excited. I also picked up, again, another great, amazing, like new copy of The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. I picked this up because he is the author of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and have heard so much about that book that I just, again, wanted to try it out. This says Cyril Avery is not a real Avery, or at least that's what her adoptive parents tell him, and he never will be, but if he isn't a real Avery, then who is he? This also takes place in the Irish community.